All right, let's see if this works a little bit better. So once again, guys, we are going to get started very soon with the stream. I just want to make
Let's see if this works a little bit better.
That everything's running well. We're going to be playing a number of different Ageod's games. It kind of depends on what you guys want to see. So let's get started in about 2 minutes, and then we'll jump into the first. And welcome everybody that just showed up. Looks like we got 3 people here. Like I said, 2 minutes and we will get started on the stream. I'm going to try to get to at least 2 or 3 Ageod games while we do this, and that way sort of each person gets to select something and we can all take a look at what Ageod has to offer here. All right, guys, and we are doing a display mode capture here because we want to be able to exit and enter into a number of different games if we have a chance. So let's go ahead and do that. And pretty soon here we will pop off and take a look. So actually, I'm already going to be looking here at the new games for Civil War II. All of the different scenarios we could play. We could, of course, do the Coming Fury as one of the campaigns. We could do Sibley's New Mexico campaign. I've never actually heard of this one. As the new player, your objectives are to conquer all of Arizona, New Mexico, and the objective town of El Paso in Texas, while preserving control of Colorado. This actually seems pretty tough. I think I'm going to go ahead and go for Bull Run, the initial Battle of Bull Run, which, of course, was a Confederate victory the first time around. So we might go ahead and play as Jefferson Davis and the Confederacy against the Union and see how we do. I mean, who knows? We might get totally crushed or we might end up doing really, really well. So I'm going to try it out here. We are going to be playing as the Confederacy. We've got P.T. Beauregard. I'm already noticing a lot of the generals here, and sure enough, that is going to be Beauregard. Yep, absolutely. Looks like there is a 33% penalty in this particular army, so we could try and move these guys around, try and create a somewhat stronger group, but I think this will work for now. In fact, Jubilee Early could take, or sorry, this is Johnston, could take, Jubilee Early is my favorite of all the Confederate leaders, could take another unit here if he's able to, if there's any around. There's also this unit right here. And this is just led by Magruder, the Richmond Department, of course. So we're going to go ahead and also start moving Magruder up if we can. I want to get Huger here to head to King and Queen, Virginia, Tappahannock. We'll try and take some sort of rails. Let's move by rail. We'll get there in 21 days. Still quite a while, I must say, but these are them days. Move by rail. 25 days by rail. It seems a bit excessive. So first things first, I'm going to take the Army of the Shenandoah, and I'm actually going to go north through Frederick, Maryland, excuse me, and also Harper's Ferry. Harper's Ferry, of course, was a major battle during the Civil War, so it'd be interesting if we could recreate it over here. Now, with Beauregard, I'm actually thinking of breaking up Longstreet into a separate army. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do that. But actually, Longstreet still has a 20% penalty by himself, which is a bit crazy. So I might go ahead and take that 33% penalty, maybe leave a unit behind. I mean, would that even be smart? I'm not sure. It's 28%. It's still pretty bad. I think we go ahead and just join up and hope for the best. Of course, we will be going north. And again, we're going on the attack, guys. We want to see if we can actually crush the Union here in open battle. Let's end the turn. Before we do, I want to take a look at the different things we could do here. So we could do a partisan raid, partisan ambush. Partisans, oh yeah, it's always going to help. And of course, muster Copperheads. Create 2 militia units of Copperheads in regions loyal to us. Highly developed regions and regions with large cities can't generate Copperheads. So Copperheads are essentially Northerners that come to the South and support the South. And I believe Carpetbaggers are the opposite of those. They're essentially Southerners that support the North. We are going to go ahead and also build some defensive works here. And let's go ahead and end the turn, guys. Hope for the best. Here we go. For those of you on the YouTube channel, we're actually streaming this on both places, not only on YouTube, but also on Twitch. Yes, we know how to do them both at once now. Quite an amazing accomplishment. So there we go. We got a first victory, guys. A really nice one, too. Now, I want to see here if we can actually take a look at that victory. So the scripted events. Now, I want to see the battle. So we won a battle against the United States of America. And as you can see, we lost 369 men, killed 768 of General C.P. Stone's men, which is a damn good shot. Really good shooting here. A lot of these guys are Maryland volunteers, etc. So we do have to sort of be careful and keep our eyes out for actual trained units. The volunteers I'm not too concerned about, of course. We will keep moving forward here, but I'm going to keep trying to move behind the enemy lines, maybe even get all the way to Baltimore, Maryland. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could take Baltimore this early in the game? That would be pretty great. Now, we do have some enemy cavalry here. I think it's probably time for us to move down here. And we've also got some copperheads and some partisans popping up over here to deal with Morell's force. So we are going to be attacking Morell again. I hope we get a victory. Let's go ahead and go for it, guys. These men are getting pretty strong, but we are going to have that partisan support.
Charge! Charge! Retreat!
Come on, man. Take a look very soon, guys, but I think that is definitely a loss. Although we are at Baltimore, Maryland. We've taken Maryland incredibly. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So, unfortunately, this first battle we did not do so well in. Got to find the actual button for casualties here. Wait a minute, guys. Sorry about that. Huh, that's a little weird. We should definitely be able to take a look here. Ah, here we go. We won a battle. So over here, we actually won against Nathaniel P. Banks. Now, this was, of course, the Battle of Baltimore. Taking Baltimore allows us to cut off a tremendous amount of the enemy supply lines, but it also gets us kind of in the north. Of course, this is in Maryland, and we actually got a pretty decent amount of kills there. Now, what about our second attack? We took 400 prisoners, by the way, and also captured 100 rifles, which is a pretty good shot. We lost a battle over here, 815 in Fairfax, and over here, this was a nasty loss, but against two very determined generals. You can see Beauregard losing 3,500, essentially 3,500 men, 3,600 if we want to round up a little bit. The enemy losing about 4,000. We definitely came away with a lot of kills, but unfortunately we were forced to pull back and retreat, guys. So first things first, I'm going to see if Beauregard can go ahead and build a wonderful depot, and it looks like he definitely can. Now what I'm concerned about is we've got the Army of the Shenandoah here trapped behind the enemy lines. We thought this would be a good idea initially, and now I'm a little concerned. So I am going to try to move up to Charles, Maryland here, although no, that means we've got to pass through Fairfax. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to wait. We're going to keep building what we can, of course, and we're going to worry about other parts of the map, because right now attacking would be suicidal, and we don't want to just kill ourselves right away. All right, let's try to get some line infantry here. Okay, I think we're going to end the turn. And let's hope that it gives Beauregard enough time to rebuild his men. Well, Johnston is, of course, stuck in Baltimore. I mean, it's a good place to be stuck, kind of. There we go. They quickly took that area. So I don't want them taking areas in Virginia. I'm going to go ahead and go to Spotsylvania, try to hold out there. We'll bring up the 3rd Reserve. And we also want Beauregard just to keep on building up. As you can see, he's already building up his men. He seems to be doing pretty well. In fact, looks like we can merge with some partisans. And at this point, I think the best thing to do is just really just wait here. Eventually, we could attack Fairfax. We've got a lot of enemy units here. I want to be careful. I'm also going to attack south with Johnston here and see if we can't get an attack. Most accessible Ageod game. I find them pretty daunting and intimidating. Well, that's a good question, and I think everybody has sort of their own opinion. I mean, for me, it's Ageod Est, because you're not really dealing with rifles, you're dealing with close combat weapons like swords, spears, this sort of thing. Civil War II is also considered a pretty easy one to get started with. Ones that I wouldn't recommend right away would be something like To End All Wars, although I think that if you're really into World War I, you can absolutely teach yourself. I mean, the truth about Ageod's games is you have to read the manual, number one. And even after you read the manual, you're going to have some questions you probably want to get answered. You could always go to the forums, the awesome forums for the Ageod games, which are really, really good. That's one place you can go, obviously. But, you know, you could also just kind of try to figure things out on your own. That's what I've done. I still have plenty of questions, but occasionally I find myself able to answer a lot of novice questions, let's put it that way. All right, let's end the turn here, guys. And a lot of Union over here near Fairfax, Virginia. I mean, just look at those armies to the north. So I'm trying to catch them off guard. All right, didn't work well the first time, but we did manage to actually take the Annapolis, Maryland area. I mean, we haven't taken the city itself, but we've certainly taken the ground around it. So I'm going to keep moving south. And with Beauregard, I think I'm going to stay put here and just continue the siege. I don't want to necessarily move forward. I definitely want to go ahead and engage the enemy here. So I'm going to start building a supply depot. And let's hope that they attack us. Let's go, boys. Wow, you started with a tough one, very tough one. There we go, perfect victory there at Fairfax. But look at how many Union armies are meeting up here behind us. And there we go, lost by victory points. Now we can actually take a look here at the actual amount dead on each side. So in that short campaign, we lost 4,753 men. We took 1,500 Union prisoners. And we killed about 6,974 of the Union. Now, as you can see, the objective list was pretty even because we have Richmond, Virginia, which is worth 125 points. The Union has Washington, D.C., which is, of course, worth 125 points. Both very, very important locations, as you can imagine. But we're going to take a look here at another game, guys. So if anybody has any suggestions as to what Ageod's game they want to see, let me know down below, and we'll bring that up next. We've got quite a few over here. So we've got Civil War II. We've got Ageod Est. What else do we have? We have Rise of Prussia, I believe. We've got To End All Wars. There's probably a few I'm forgetting here that we could download as well. But let's see if anybody wants to name one. If not, I might go straight for Rise of Prussia Gold. Rise of Prussia may be one of my favorite ones on here. It's actually one of my least favorite conflicts of all time, but for some reason, it's one of my favorite Ageod games. Revolution Under Siege is another one we have. English Civil War. I do believe we have English Civil War, although I think I have it on the other PC. Let's take a look here. Okay, so we do have English Civil War. Why not? Let's play it. Now, I am warning you guys, this could be the older version, the beta version of English Civil War. I'm not 100% sure, but we're certainly going to jump into this one and try our best. And yes, it is out for sure. You can pick it up. It's one of the things I like about it, and yes, this is the proper version. So one of the things I really like about the English Civil War game that's different from a lot of Ageod games, which actually might answer your question as to which the best Ageod game is for a beginner, is there's not nearly as many enemies or men on your side. You have to remember that when the English Civil War broke out, you know, England didn't really have a standing army. So to actually build a standing army for both Parliament and the King took a long time. So a lot of English Civil War requires you to take land mainly, requires you to move smaller groups of units. Of course, you still have your large armies, but a lot of the game is moving those smaller groups of units, guys, and trying to take as many areas as possible. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get over here to the... Oh, sorry, wrong area. Take a look at the cards. And we're going to get here to the declarations. Now, this is basically us declaring to a certain area that we are fighting against the king and that they should join us. When they do, we get a little army there, and of course the army can assist in convincing others to join us, but it doesn't always work. As you can see, the declarations are much less likely in these bigger cities that we're going for, but obviously our goal is to try to get as many of these big cities as possible. I might just go for one of the small cities. Actually, no, we're still going to go for Portsmouth, which is quite a big city nonetheless, and we're going to go ahead and end the turn. So let's do that, and let's hope that some of this loyalty comes our way. Now, not every city is going to respect our declaration, but at least we've made it known. Okay, look at that. Actually, you can see that sort of golden or orange coloring, however you guys see it best. I'm a bit colorblind myself. So as you can see, we have taken this area here, and that's pretty cool. Over here, we're basically just waiting for Warwick's force to get ready to fight. At that point, we can start sending them out and capturing other areas. But right now, our main job is to just stay put, try and get reinforcements where we can and recruit where we can. One of those places would, of course, be London, but also gain support in the areas we know are quite happy with us. I think there's one other one up here to the north. I could be wrong. We also are being besieged over here at Hull, so we want to be very careful here. Very clean, thank you, man. And also we have neutral zones, so we didn't have this before, or in a lot of games from Ageods, we don't have this. We do have this feature in English Civil War, and that's the basically neutral regions. So you can see here, 25% parliamentarian, 24% royalist. It's really not supporting either side, 51% neutral. It's really mostly neutrals. And we've got some areas here like 55% parliamentarian, 44% royalist. It's still not dramatic enough to really determine which side is going to win there. But once you move an army in that area, people start to support you very, very quickly. As you can see in London, which is an extremely parliamentarian area, 50% parliamentarian, 20% royalist, and only 30% neutral. That's pretty serious. How's it going, Ground Penguin? Awesome, man. Okay, so here we go. We're going to end the turn. It's now our turn to attack. Hopefully, if our men get unlocked. And I'm going to take this as an opportunity to try and move as much as possible. Now, another thing that is tough about Parliament, and I will share this with you guys right now, is as Parliament, you get what's called trained bands. Now, as the King's Army, you get these guys, the Royalist forces, and they can move. The trained bands, however, they stay in whatever location you've put them in, and they don't move unless they get attacked. These trained bands, historically, they like to stay in one location, one spot, basically. They didn't want to have to move around. They wanted to be close to their families, close to their farms. So a lot of these guys were not the most reliable in terms of actually getting into a fight or getting into combat. Now, it's good to see that we've got some support here already, but it's scary to see King Charles's forces are getting stronger and stronger, and we absolutely have to respond to that. So we're going to go ahead and end the turn here. And let's just hope for the best. Okay, here we go, guys. So now we can start moving General Essex's army. Now, we could actually split this guy off into several armies, but I can already see that Brooke's army is already kind of in trouble. So despite the fact I didn't actually want to go this way towards Oxford, I am going to send his army this way, and we'll actually put him on an attack path here, or an offensive path anyway, and we shall end the turn. I want to make sure we don't have any other men here, because we eventually do get reinforcements from the north and from the east. Yes, the Royalist is super hard, often end up getting smashed by Fairfax. Very true. I mean, you've got to kind of stay away from him. Any chance you could show us Field of Glory too soon? No chance. No chance. We'll show it when we show it. All right, let's proceed here. And actually, it looks like we got a parliamentarian victory at Warwick with Greville. 235 of the enemies dead and only 205 of our own men. And like I told you guys before, each of these units is basically based off a real unit that existed at the time. And the battles are not as massive as a lot of the other Ageod games, because this war was obviously a lot more specific. It was a lot more centered to just one country. And that was the focus, of course. So you're not going to get these massive battles, and you're going to have to focus a lot more on trying to gain, I guess, political support than necessarily winning battles. Of course, both are important, but it's just something to consider. Hello, Libre. How are you doing? Yeah, in a couple of months, we'll have to see how it goes. I certainly hope so. I really do. So we're going to take Fairfax here, guys, or Brooke's army, pardon me. And we're going to move him southwards. So I'm going to try to get him over here so that we can basically take this area all for ourselves. And look at that. Wow, Essex's army dropped really quickly there. I don't know how that happened. Let's build a depot. This guy's not in a good spot at all. He went from like really strong to kind of puny within one turn. Now, a lot of the times that has to do with environmental factors, bad weather. I mean, this game takes everything into account, even disease and sickness. So that could also be an issue. And also a lot of guys just end up going home. They leave London. They're like, I'm not so crazy about this war anymore. Let's go home. So let's build a depot here. Hopefully he'll be able to regain some of that cohesion. And at the same time, maybe with Brooks' army, we can take some areas here. Come on, lads. All right, let's have a look. So as you can see, we took both of these areas. Pretty nice. This area, we did secure the castle itself, but we didn't quite secure the land around it for whatever reason. Now I'm going to let Essex go ahead and continue regaining that strength, if you can call it strength. And I'm actually going to go for an attack on Bristol, which is, of course, mostly a royalist area. We're going to try to change that. We'll also try to get some reinforcements, but it doesn't look like we have much gold. So we're going to go for a banker's loan. It looks like we have little to no gold, really. And let's end the turn. Okay, we just got some reinforcements in the north. That's hopefully going to help us to grab some of these areas. Of course, when a place goes Protestant or Royalist, it's a bit hard to change it. I mean, they've essentially considered that the force they're going to fight for. It's very hard to convince them to start fighting for you. You've really got to give them a good reason, and usually a victory is a good reason. As you can see here, we won with General Fairfax. 358 lost on our side and 254 cavalry units. We killed 394 and 111 cavalry units. And I love to see the Earl of Derby here, his basic group of men. We actually managed to fight them off. Of course, we did lose one of Fairfax's horsemen, but this was definitely a battle where we came out on top, just barely. And if we could hold Selby, we're going to come off really well in this area, because this general could actually jump to those other small towns to the west and go ahead and turn them into parliamentarian strongholds. So right now we're basically just staying right there with Brooks' army, trying to take Bristol. And I think it's time to move the Essex's army, and I actually see King Charles. I might try going for him. First I'm going to go north with Essex, and then I'm going to go even farther north with Essex, and all along the way I'm going to be in attack mode, guys, ready to fight at a moment's notice. Of course, we'll keep Brooke here because he needs to besiege this area. See if we can help him a little bit with the siege. Give him a landmine. And we'll recruit a little bit more here in London. Why not? Also gain some support there. And end the turn. Thank you, Fluffy Bunny. As for Ground Penguin, that's actually a good question, because I myself am actually an amateur at Ageod's games. I think I'm just at the level where I can sort of understand what's going on. So as far as grouping units, I go for a penalty of about 23% or 24%. That's the max. Once you get to penalties of like 30%, 40%, then I start to break my armies down into smaller armies. I'll use one army just to basically harass the enemy, get behind their lines. I'll use the other army for attacks or defense. So I do split my armies, especially if the penalty gets quite high. Although I have seen armies, like for instance in Ageod Est, which is one of the reasons I think it's a great game for new players. And oh my god, 666, it's the devil. But basically in Ageod Est, you can have armies of like 150,000, and as long as you got a general that's strong enough, he can pretty much control them without much of a penalty. So it really depends on the game. But as you can see here, guys, we got an incredible victory at the Battle of Bristol Walls. We haven't taken the walls yet, but we're getting closer, and Dutton's Foot is still holding them. I'd love to take that city, though, from the enemy. Now it's going to be a little harder, but we're still going to try. And, of course, we can't forget our northern force. Such interesting strategies. Hello, Preacher. Welcome, my friend. Okay, let's take a look here. For all of you watching on the YouTube channel, how's it going, guys? Sorry, we're mostly looking at the Twitch channel right now. I should be looking at both. Shame on me. Let's go ahead and move forward. I already see the king, so I'm tempted to go ahead and attack him right away. In fact, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see if we can capture him or catch up to him at least. Although it looks like we're going to have to stay in defensive mode, at least temporarily. I'm going to remain outside of Bristol, of course, to try and take the city. And we're just going to keep on moving with Fairfax's army. Try to take as much land for Parliament as possible, guys. I think that's all we can hope for now. Let's go for it. Oh, yes. I love the... We actually have the Russian Civil War I believe it's Revolution Under Siege. I'm going to say to end all wars, but Revolution Under Siege is our Russian Civil War game, and probably one of my favorite Ageod games in terms of setting, for sure. Very complicated. I would say of all the Ageod games, Revolution Under Siege may be the most complicated because it sort of shows the lack of command that both the Red and the Whites had at the time of the war. So, for instance, you'll have a unit like this, just as an example, in Revolution Under Siege, and you'll have like 700 guys. You'll be so happy. You'll be about to attack Moscow, and then all of a sudden, the next turn, your unit is blocked. He can't attack. He can't move. He hasn't received any real orders. And this was quite common during the Russian Civil War, as you can imagine. Trying to get orders out to hundreds of different armies was not always easy, and you didn't always get the right orders out. So now, guys, we're going to go ahead and try to attack the army of the king here. And with our forces to the north over here, we want to make sure he gets to Newark and then to Leicester. See, I said the name right this time. Oh, congratulations, Agrippa. And we're going to stay right here with Brooke's army, although I kind of think we should probably break off. We're going to give him another chance, and we are going to end the turn. And yes, I agree with Siri in terms of, for a beginner, I would think Ali Akdest right now is probably the best one for sure. Maybe maybe Civil War II is another good one. And there we go. Brooke unfortunately lost at the Battle of the Parliamentarian Walls. We're going to have to move out of there, guys. We're just not going to take Bristol without a larger army. But it's good to see that we're trying different things. I think at this point we should try and retreat from Bristol and take land elsewhere. And there we go, the cataclysmic fight between Parliament and the King. And it's a parliamentarian defeat, guys. King Charles actually kicked our ass badly, killing 3,654 of our men, 1,464 of our horses. We killed 1,429 of his men and 476 of his horses. And look at how many commanders he has in his army. Somebody mentioned earlier that the AI likes to merge together. That's definitely the case in this campaign because they all merge with King Charles, every single one of them. And I think that's pretty much a defeat for Parliament almost immediately, unless we can merge with maybe Bristol and or Bedford and move towards Bristol. Let's go to Newbury. We'll head to Newbury over here as well, but I think we're pretty much stuck here. So now, guys, we're going to take a look at another one of the games. Let's do another 4 minutes here. But I do want to take a look at another Ageod's game. This time, maybe we'll take a look at Ali Akdest. But it's up to you guys. Do you want to see Ali Akdest? Do you want to see Revolution Under Siege? What do you guys really want to see? And let me know in the comments. And if you're on YouTube, let me know in the Twitch comments, please, for Slytherin Games, because that's where we're actually at right now. Yes, to end all wars is awesome. Rise of Prussia Golds this year. I like that suggestion. Rise of Prussia Gold may be one of my favorite ones. All right, so let's get to Rise of Prussia Gold. Of course, I always like to show the objectives and the casualties on both sides. So as you can see here, 6,995 men lost on our side. We killed 3,592, and it looks like we captured 600 men. Not really much to write home about. So we're going to quit here and go for Prussia. Pride of Nations is a great one as well. I'm not really sure. I would think they did. I mean, I've played Pride of Nations on my own channel on Agrippa Maxenius a number of times. I love the Boer War sort of campaign. It's always fun. So I'm not sure. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everything's running fine in the game. But if you do have any issues with tech stuff, absolutely let the dev team know because they're always trying to fix things. Oh, I love this song. It's so nice. I'm gonna have to turn the music down in a second, guys. And believe it or not, I have a coworker who he hums that song and whistles it every single day, without fail. He knows who he is every single day without fail. So I'm a little sick of the song, but it is a very nice song. So we're going to start a new game here, guys, for Revolution Under Siege, Prussia, Rise of Prussia. So we're going to do the invasion of Saxony, and of course I am going to play as Prussia. So we've got to move into Austria, or Saxony in this case, and I really like to get owner of all regions. This is my favorite map view. You could pick from any number of map views. We also have, if you can look here, this is a little different from other Ageod's games in that you can actually play with unit stacks instead of portraits. Personally, I prefer the portraits. I don't know if you guys are the same, but I'm a portraits kind of guy. It's just what I like. So I'm going to go to options here, and I am not going to use the 3D models. So we'll resume the game. I like to actually be able to see the generals that I'm leading into battle. And we've got some pretty good ones here already. So we've got Johann Wedel. We're going to send him south. And of course, on the way, he will be in attack formation. Now, one thing about attacking places in attack formation, you do have to realize that you're going to damage the infrastructure of that region because your army's basically moving through with no care whatsoever for the citizens inside. And you got to be careful when you do that. So especially if you're trying to play a large campaign. In this case, we're playing a fairly smaller campaign. So I'm trying to be, as quick as possible in my attacks. Portraits for life, says Piddles. Yes, 3D counters, that's right. And that's actually something that a lot of people really seem to enjoy is the 3D counters. Personally, like I said, I'm definitely a portraits kind of guy. I'm like Piddles here, I'm portraits for life. Portraits for life. We get P4L. It's our new thing, man, P4L. Just P4L all day, every day. Okay, let's stop and let's attack here, and hopefully we get a nice attack going. So here we go, guys. Okay, the attack's commenced. We got the Battle of Torgau, but that was easy. There were hardly no men there, and after only 92 men being shot down, they essentially just gave up their equipment and got the hell out of here. Probably a good idea. It looks like we're still besieging the area, but I'm confident we'll be taking this in no time. And let's take Torgau farther south. Of course, he'll continue his attack. We'll also keep this general here just to try and take this area as well. And we still have to bring down von Zietzen's hussars. Of course, von Zietzen is pretty weak. When you look at him, he's not that strong. But he can get the job done, I think. We'll send in some cavalry corps as well. Just trying to cut up as much of this area as possible. And how is this guy doing? Wait a minute. Von Zietzen, you stay here. Yeah, stay there. You join him, and you join both of them. I think this will work out very good. I hope so, anyway. All right, let's end the turn. We've still got Karl's men. And here we go, guys. Wish us luck. Now this army's gotten bigger. We're still besieging it, though. Still besieging the city, I should say. And now we have taken Cottbus, so that's definitely a big move. But we want to keep on attacking. Let's move north. What sound are you referring to, sir? Oh, look at that. We got another general up there, too. So actually, we could probably start moving this guy out. And let's go south. And we will end the turn. Oh, that must be... It's a car alarm outside. Yeah, sorry, guys. Some idiot with a car alarm, you know, just decided that it should be everybody else's problem. It's been going on for probably about an hour and a half. I do apologize for that. I do hope somebody steals his car, because then the alarm would at least go to good use. Here we go. We are attacking the enemy pretty harshly here. And Austria is holding against all odds. This is definitely a nice little battle here. But despite the Austrians being totally outnumbered, they are definitely putting up a good fight here. We're going to see that in the casualties at the end. Interesting, Siri. Very interesting. Yes, definitely, man. Keep firing, boys. Drown out the sound of that alarm.
Standhalten!
All right, Prussian victory, guys. Look at that. So, 228 men lost, 540 men lost. It actually wasn't that big of a battle, but I'd like to think that the Graf von Wilster here was really trying to make it much bigger a deal than it actually was. A lot of pomp and circumstance during the battle, but we did manage to win. We've obviously pushed him back, and we just need to keep on moving. We also need to desperately take Torgau, so I'm going to go ahead for a total attack on Torgau here. I'm going to do the same with this right column. And let's bring this guy to the north. But actually, for now, I'm just going to charge, once again, trying to take more and more land from the enemy. And we'll keep moving west. Why not? Just trying to harm the enemy as much as possible. And the best way to do that is to try and take every single bit of land that they have here. Let's go for it. We've actually got a very large army here of Austrians. I did not expect that. Yes, exactly. So you need to pick assault for them to rush the city. If they're in offensive mode, they will look for battles, but not necessarily find them. But I've actually had, and this maybe is just the city gave up, I've had victories while on defensive mode outside of a city. So once again, I'm not sure if that's the city gave up or what explains that, but I have had that happen before. But yeah, in general, you've got to go for assault mode, although when you go for assault mode on a city, you do destroy the natural resources inside, the buildings, etc. You've got to be a little careful with that for sure. Right now, this battle is taking a while. Man, I hope we've done some damage to these Austrians, because there's 41,000 of them down here in the south. And this is probably their largest concentration of men. Come on, boys.
Für Gott, König und Vaterland!
Für Gott, König und Vaterland. For God, King, and Country. That's pretty cool. Siri might be right. I think the battle, but I like the battle slow, but not too slow. But I think I have the battle meter on a very slow setting, which is why these battles are taking a lot longer. We're at hour 1, round 2. So this is just within 1 hour, the casualties that could occur, and you can see the numbers dropping on both sides, but definitely more on our side than on the enemy side. I just hope that we can take a bunch of them with us. If we're going to go down, we might as well go down with a bunch of Austrians as well. Come on, men. Prime those muskets and fire.
Vorrücken!
Actually says Austria is retreating in disorder. There's a chance here that we're doing okay, although I don't expect with that amount of men for us to win this. Nonetheless, that would be an incredible victory. See if we can get them under 40,000.
Angriff!
And now they're just chopping us to bits, as you can see. If you look at that left army, we're taking a lot of hits. I was trying to get them under 40k. I don't know if we are going to be able to. Well, there we go. Got them under 40k just barely. But I think the amount of losses we're going to have here, it's not going to make much of a difference. Yes, absolutely, Piddles. And you have the idea right there, man. The forum is a great resource. The manual, obviously, is an essential resource. And it's a Prussian defeat. Look how many men we lost. 6,091. The enemy only lost 1,877. And we can actually see the units involved in this fight. We definitely went too far south where the Austrians were waiting for us. But we tried. We tried our best. Let me also take a look here. Head into options. I think I do have battle speed, battle animation. We'll just keep the battle delay at very low. Good suggestion. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back into the owner of all regions. And once again, the enemy is still holding out here. We might have to turn back across the river. I will attack Dresden with this unit. Unfortunately, we have to keep... Oh, no, look at that. They finally took the area. Wonderful. So I'm going to take one of these guys to Leipzig, and this guy is going to go to Chemnitz. Yeah, sehr gut. We'll get this guy to go to Elster just to make life even more difficult for the enemy. Hey, Teskier, how's it going, man? There we go. That's going to be a victory for sure. And of course, Prussian victory, 1,642 men dead, and 78 in number of companies. 78 companies. That's way too many men. He doesn't have 78 companies, but basically we took nearly every single one of his men prisoner, which is good news for us. I also wonder how prisoners were treated during this time and during these wars. Here we go. Battle of Wurzen. Come on, man. Shows these Austrian dogs we mean business. And there we go, a Prussian victory, guys. A beautiful Prussian victory, too. We lost 3,038 men, 87 horses lost, but we killed 5,056 enemies and 365 horses lost. That was truly a gentleman's fight. And we were the gentlemen to come out on top in that one. We definitely won that fight. And we're still moving through Austria. So now we're in Wurzen. This guy over here on the right, and I'm not trying to be rude, but really, this guy over here on the right looks like a 90-year-old version of Donald Trump. Right here. Leopold Gessler. I'm not sure why, but just look at him and tell me that's not a little Trump-like. So here we go. We're going to continue forward. Hopefully we get into another fight. There we go. Another wonderful Prussian victory there, that time losing 2,011 men, but still killing 4,463. And I think Rutovsky is pretty much finished. I don't see him really rebuilding this army. I think it's basically our victory at this point. But Prince Ferdinand can't get himself shot. We need every single air we can get. And I think that's a pretty good number of losses for the enemy. Of course, we still need to deal with probably about 1,400 men over this all. And let's see what Piddle says. Prisoners were traded for ransom during the early years in cartels, but it broke down as the war progressed, or so says the internet. That's interesting, actually. And I wonder if they were treated fairly or poorly or how that works. I think in these older wars, prisoners were treated a little better than in the more modern wars. I could be wrong. Of course, I'm not talking too old. We're talking like a few hundred years old. 2,000. They might actually be treated a lot worse. All right, there we go. Good tech, boys. And of course, we could go for Prague. They've actually got a very large general moving up this way, an Austrian force. A lot of men near Prague that want to try and take us on. Now I'm going to actually move my left column here in a weird hope that I actually get to deal with these guys. Love to get into a final battle there against them, but if not, we'll just keep on moving. And we definitely want to move east to attack that army again. All right, let's end the turn. It's actually a really nice defense by the enemy, but once again, a victory on our side. 2,408 men dead on our side, 3,526 on the enemy. And this Friedrich Rotowski, I must say, he's lost every battle he's gotten into, but he manages to keep that army together somehow. So, got to give him a little bit of respect after all. And let's keep on moving. Come on, men. And now Rotowski is cut off from just about anybody that could help him. But luckily, one of the enemy armies has actually gone back to Prague, which is good. I don't want to deal with them. Pretty massive army, and not one we really can focus on too much. Anyway, guys, we are getting to the end of this stream. I want to thank everybody for stopping by, taking a look at quite a number of Ageod's games. There are a ton we haven't gotten to, but I'm sure you guys have at least gotten an idea of what to expect from these games. I would highly recommend those of you that are interested but not 100% sure about the games in terms of can I learn it, etc. Head to the forums. I mean, don't be afraid to head to the Matrix forums. Take a look at them. Also read the manual. I know the manual seems daunting at times, but believe me, even reading the manual and basic things like reinforcements and building depots, things like this can really help you. So even if you're just going to fiddle through the manual, it's a lot more likely that you're going to actually learn something than if you just don't give it a chance at all. In that case, you're definitely not going to learn anything, and you'll never play an Ageod's game. So I would highly recommend you guys take a look. Rise of Prussia is a good one. Ageod is a really good one. Just go take a look at the Matrix catalog, guys. Don't forget that if you purchase something on the Matrix site, you will also get a copy of that product on Steam. So this is definitely something you guys want to take a look at. And thank you to everybody on YouTube and on Twitch that came and watched this stream. I hope you guys had a really good time, and I really hope you guys will help the younger generation sort of learn these kind of games because I think it's absolutely important and makes history a bit more fun. So thank you so much, guys. Take care and have an awesome, awesome day.